أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Every now and then, many people ask one specific question. Are we close to end of time? When the doomsday will take place, especially what some media and news talk about the Armageddon and the war which destroys everything. In order to be clear about this, we know that in the books of hadith by all Muslims, regardless of their madhab, there is a title, there is a definition for this end of time, and that is Ashrat al-Sa'a. Ashrat al-Sa'a means what are the events that presage the end of time, and this will happen before the appearance of Al-Mahdi, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Faraj Sharif, who is going to fill the earth with justice and truth. Of course, wars are known here as something shared by all reports. Destructions that two powerful or superpowers conflict, fight, and it ends up with 1/3 of the world's population to be killed. In another report, we see that from Sheikh Mufid, that he refers to Imam Ali alayhi salam, that toward the end of time, there will be two types of death, the red death and the white death. What is exactly meant by these? Of course, when we talk about the natural causes or disasters, is something understandable. People who come to end of span of their lives, that is very, very natural. But when we talk about the red death, it refers to the bloodshed, to wars, and here we find many reports about them. Wars, destructions, and societal disorders. And by this, even we see that 1/3 of the world's population being killed, or in another third dying of natural causes, and leaving the other for the causes which are unknown. Before the end of time, there are certain signs, as I said, and these are Ashrat al-Sa'a. One of them, of course, is the emergence of the Dajjal, the Antichrist. Whether a Dajjal is specifically a person or entity or no, it refers to the idea, the concept, anyone who brainwashes and manipulates others with the claim that they are guiding them to the right path while they are actually steering them away from it. So this, unfortunately, is seen in many claims, many parties, many groups who try to advocate and support false ideas and allow people by advertisement, by the means that brainwash people and giving them the wrong information and worry, fear, and every stress will cover the whole society as a result of that. However, when we talk about the Antichrist, the Dajjal, we hear from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa wasallam, as it is reported, that the Dajjal will appear in the outskirts of Medina, where he will be joined by every disbeliever and hypocrite. In another sign, we see the emergence of Sufyani, and that Sufyani, whether he is from the descendants of Bani Sufyan, as known in the history, or just is another title. No one can verify that. In addition to that, we see many reports about the moralities are disappearing completely. Corruption, degradation of long-established societal morals, and other things that are mentioned in many reports. Neglect of daily prayers, balance, and unrestricted pursuit for lust, desires, and power. All these are mentioned in many hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the error-free Imams alayhi salam. Accepting bribery or dishonesty, covering the whole people, misappropriation of the charitable funds, and same gender coupling are again mentioned. So, when we read all these, we see that injustice is prevailing and people try to justify something which is wrong, to put in the minds that we are only defending ourselves, our land, but in reality, they are destroying all types of civilization. So, in brief, when we talk about these signs that are happening towards the end of time, what shall we do? To keep silent, indifferent, or to be negative about them, or try to solve the problem and save ourselves, our families, our community from being misled by all these wrong information. Don't rush, brothers and sisters, into creating that fear. Oh, yes, that's the end of the time and there is no solution. So we have to keep indifferent and motionless. No, it is to show that our responsibility is in awakening people, in guiding them to the right path, in making them aware of their duties in the reform, in trying to change the situation. And that is really something very, very important. Of course, we hope and pray to Allah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hastens the reappearance of the 12th Imam, Al-Mahdi, and permit us to be included in his, under his banner, in his group. And that is something very important. But it is not a mere wish. No, we have to be careful. And again, this awaiting the reappearance of the 12th Imam, as we are approaching the birth anniversary of the Imam on 15th of Shaban, this awakening is not something to remain without any practice, without any activity. No, which means that if you really wish to join the army of the Imam, the camp of the Imam, and the banner of the Imam, we have to purify our souls. We have to look about the moral values and prepare ourselves to remove all impurities from our behavior. And that is very, very important. This is our message. This is our responsibility. And by that only, we prove to be included in those who will enjoy the time of the appearance of the Imam. And that is the wish, and had been throughout the centuries the wish of many who passed away, who were expecting and wishing to see that day, the emergence of justice, when everything is made and done according to Allah's pleasure and in line with the doctrines of Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Otherwise, if one denies their duties, if people neglect the commands and prohibitions, in a sense, doesn't pay attention to them, not changing their habits and continue in what every other people who are heedless, who are only after the lust and the desire of this life, neglecting the focus on hereafter, preparing themselves for it, of course, they will be the losers. Brothers and sisters, as we are going to celebrate the birth anniversary of the 12th Imam, at the same time, we wish and ask Allah to fulfill His promises, that day where truth becomes the principle, the faith will become the measure for everything and not the worldly affairs at all. By this, we guarantee walking in the right path and securing a better future. Don't rush into the signs of end of time, but try to make reform in your family, in your surrounding, in your community, and that is something very, very important for us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.